Chapter 28. William and the Pilot. I'm sitting here, contemplating movements, what next to do, wondering where it is. I'm lost in a world of thoughts, though there is nothing particularly on my mind. In fact, I keep imagining just how strongly I'm going to mess up, instead of actually thinking about how I'm going to mess up and what I could do to avoid that. For instance, one of these fantasies involves destroying the earth so much that there are no natural resources left for us to plunder. Half the world's on fire. The other half is barren and not worth contemplating. With all this, everyone turns on me. I run, but there is nowhere really to run to. I'm outnumbered in all the most extreme senses of the word. Every exit is blocked because there is no real exit from a spaceship. Even if I find an empty corridor, the next will be occupied, and the previous one will be full of people in pursuit. Or, if I manage to find an empty room, how long could it last? I would either be trapped there until I starve, or the room will eventually be opened and I would be caught. Or more realistically, the CCTV cameras that we have everywhere will track down my every movement. There could be no escape. So, I would have one of two alternatives to follow. A, commit suicide, as that's the only place where nobody could ever follow me, and I watch myself, completely lacking any control over these images, but willing them on. I watch myself pick up a knife, pushing it, forcing it into my neck and ripping it out, me collapsing onto the floor, choking, spluttering blood everywhere, no longer able to bleed, wondering what will come first. Loss of consciousness? Choking to death? Maybe perhaps bleeding to death. Maybe I could find a nice tall place to jump off, falling gracefully, and then landing, in this case, head first, head smashing open, revealing a puff of blood, which quickly lands. Or my body landing on a railing, whipping my legs down harder, snapping the back of my already dead body. B, getting caught, being frog-marched in front of thousands of people. For some reason, thousands of people have turned up to see me die, being pelted at, spat at, shouted at, tied up, people with clubs hitting me, my body refusing to turn unconscious, just taking in the physicalness of it all. Blows, many, to the head until, finally, I slump forward, a nothing person in all its terms, on the floor. I look up as a group of guards enter the room, though they seem to be wearing pilots' uniforms. The leader of this group walks up to me, introduces himself as a Captain Fretyng. He says to me, "We have returned," as if I'm going to know what he's talking about. He makes it sound as if he is the most important being ever. After a few non-starts, he refers to a mission. I lack inspiration as far as guessing what mission he is talking about, but, and how was the mission, may I ask? Fretyng smiles. "Yes, you may, and I will tell you, if only because it's my duty to report everything back to you, sire." I smile as if, yeah, right, I have a clue. And then, well, stop babbling and get on with it. "Yes, sire. Straight away, sire. Where do you want me to begin, sire?" I almost don't know what to say other than, from the beginning, where most things normally start. Yes, of course. Well, sire, I got into my box, and this is something I detest about pilots, which they seem to be. But surely they are all orbiting Earth? Most of the time they talk complete and utter gibberish. The rest of the time they talk about how amazing they are. A thought suddenly struck, but I don't want to face it yet, so. Ox? Yes, sire. It's what we affectionately call our smooths. Sire. I groan inwardly, which leads to, yes, silly me. Yes, sire. Silly you. Fretyng looks proud of how cheeky he has just been. It would be something to talk about at the mess, no doubt. You'll never guess what, chums. I darn well told the old bean upstairs just how jolly darn silly he was. Ha 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 ha, rather. I, on the other hand, have different feelings. Feelings that mix dread of the upcoming news, humiliation, stress, tiredness, and fuck knows what else, which comes out as, how dare you call me silly? I decide to kill the pilot sometime. It's becoming a bit of a theme with me right now. I'm not sure how to handle people other than to give them an extreme for the boundary they should not cross. And, unfortunately, let them step over it. Sorry, sire. I was just agreeing with what you said. The first thing that we are taught in school, sire. Agree with the supreme ruler about everything, and that means absolutely everything, otherwise the punishment is death. I have no idea what the fuck his excuse is meant to mean. Is that fast talking? Is that bullshit talking? I have no idea. I used to be so good at forming my thoughts. Now they just come out and they mean nothing. Babbling. Yes, well, there are exceptions. And besides which, you're babbling again. Now get on with the report, please. Yes, sire. Sorry, sire. I think I'm ready to face the fire now. And so, I need to warn the pilot. Fretyng. Sire. Life is so difficult sometimes, and I want to. Just get on with the darn report, for crying out loud! Sorry, sire. Please, please, say that again, and you won't ever be able to say that again. Why is that, sire? I look down to the floor. For an answer? Because the only answer I can come up with is, because you'll be dead! Like Yurtjuk, I add, as an aside. Not quite sure what I mean. This does seem to scare Fretyng into action. Well, like I was saying, I got into my box, checked my instruments, realized I left my lunch in my locker, got out. Sometimes I wonder if there really is such a thing as fate or destiny, or even the idea of your life being written in the stars. I wonder if life is just written on a piece of paper that we are all actors and reading these lines, that someone has picked me to be the butt of the eternal joke, the constant wearing down, the difficulties in communication, the slackness, the incompetence. This is not supposed to happen. This is not an efficiently running ship. This is worse than a bad spoof of a bad sci-fi comedy about a group of incompetent space travelers. If life is written, then the author is bad. He's a bad writer, and he seems to have picked me to be the authority figure, the straight one, and therefore the butt of every bad joke ever. I wonder. I would just like to see this script, just so that I can have an advance warning. Warning of the next bad person to walk up to me and say something bad. It's all so tiresome. Wearing, grinding down. I want release. I want to go back, to start afresh, but not that far back, please. Just start with when you entered Earth's atmosphere. And please, try not to go into too much detail. Please. I say this because I have a feeling I know what's about to have happened. Righty-ho, sire. Well, we flattened everything and everyone in sight, sire. Flattened. The worst has happened. I dismissed the pilot. Thank you. You may leave now. Thank you, sire. Fretyng salutes and leaves. I'll get a better report than that from someone more trustworthy, less wearing. Flattened. Well, that's it then. The worst has happened. Earth's been hit, been attacked. No doubt in the grand scheme of action that was the original plan, the one I postponed. But somebody disobeyed me. I have a traitor somewhere, here, on the bridge. Someone either chose to ignore my orders to get them to halt, or someone went behind my back and told them they could advance. I look around me. Suddenly I feel the room grow, myself shrink, and everyone is everyone. But I am only me, a small, helpless, isolated me. I no longer choose to trust anyone. But to whom can I turn for help? Who can I turn to confide in? Are they all traitorous? Is it just one person? But one thing I do know is this. There is no chance, not one, of a friendly meeting with any of Earth's residents. Never can we live side by side in harmony. Never will we be trusted. We will be hated. Our technologies ignored and probably bettered. We will become the smaller race. We will be the ones destroyed when they get a chance to. There was once a hope that we could live peacefully side by side. Everybody wanted that to be followed. Everybody always said that was what they wanted. At any stage through our journey here, it was always, we want harmony. But somewhere it went wrong. I will always be to blame. Is that fair? I don't know. In reference to the pilots, I say to anyone in earshot, how come we only seem to have incompetence on this craft? I don't know. Oh, excellently brilliant one that is superb at whatever his marvelousness comes across in his amazing lifetime. Give me strength.